Hey everybody, Mark from Rams Up here with my Rams Up straight up picks for week 5. Now, I usually have Matt, my special assistant, joining me for this segment, and he did actually. That's on the podcast. Check out the podcast, episode 257. Have a good 20-minute discussion going over each of these games. And yeah, check that out. I'll go through the results of that discussion and what we decided, how we're picking these games, and try to back it up with some facts, with some logic, if I can. Let's look how we did last week, and what do we have on the plate this week? Went 12-4 last week, not bad. That Seahawks-Giants game bit us a little bit. This week, good abbreviated schedule, 2 less games, but that's what we'll be going through here in a second. Let's get to it. So, game number 1 already in the books. We have the Bears at the Commanders, and Matt and I were both rolling with the Commanders. As Matt said, he expected Justin Fields and the Bears to maybe surprise a little bit, and they did. But so we're going to take a strike on that one. DJ Moore, wow, what a day. Game number 2 on the plate, the Jags and the Bills. And you think the Jags would have them in a good place? They've been in London for 2 weeks now. By the time this game rolls around, the Bills coming off a big divisional win, and that's where you usually lean on a team that lean against a team coming off a big divisional win, maybe going to take a step back a little bit, and that would, maybe you want to go pick the Jags for that reason, but I still love myself some Josh Allen and Buffalo Bills here. So Matt and I both settled on the Bills for this game. Don't be surprised, as Matt said, if you wake up early Sunday morning and this is like a 7-6 game and the Jags are making a game of it. And keep in mind, Von Miller back for this game. So you got Von Miller and Leonard Floyd on the edges there. Brings back memories, huh? What do we got next? We got the Texans at the Falcons. Now, week 0, I would have been all over the Falcons. Week 5, I'm all over the Texans. Interesting thing, though, here is, as I looked at this game, and I assumed the Texans would be favored, and they've earned it. They've played so well, turned that ship around really fast. But the Falcons are favored. So, sometimes Vegas knows, So that gives me some hesitation to go real strong in the Texans' favor. I'm still picking the Texans, but something might be up with this game is all we're saying here. Panthers at the Lions, the last unbeaten team against a really good Lions team. Amon St. Brown might not play, probably not going to play. But the Lions are just clicking on all cylinders. And as we mentioned in the podcast, shout out to Josh Reynolds. Really never got a fair shake in LA, didn't get a lot of chances. And I always felt like I sensed some frustration with Josh Reynolds, and he moved on. And he's getting it done in Detroit. Give him credit. And maybe he'll have another touchdown in this game. Him and Jared Goff definitely have a connection. Developing a connection there, so good for him. Next up, the Titans and the Colts. As Matt called the Titans an every other week team, and that seems to be the case. They get rocked at 27-3, and then they come back and beat the Bengals handily. The Colts, they got Jonathan Taylor coming back. This could be a really difficult offense, I should say, to deal with. And the Colts were getting rolling against the Rams in the second half there. 2 decent football teams. And we decided to roll with the home team in this one. Do not feel strongly about it, though. But, yeah, take the Colts over the Titans. Next, we got the Giants and the Dolphins. And obviously, we're picking the Dolphins in this one. The question is, have the Giants players quit on this coach yet, or are they about to quit on this coach? And this is just a bad spot for the Giants. They're going to come into this game. Dolphins, one of the best offense in the league. the Giants have not played well in any facet of the game from what I've seen. Daniel Jones giving away touchdowns. I don't know. It's a tough spot. What I want to see is what I'm going to take away from this game, from this Giants loss. If ever there's a game you're almost going to guarantee a loss, is how hard the Giants play, and do they keep it interesting? Do they play to the final whistle? Is there a little bit of quit going on in this team quite yet? I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, Dolphins all the way in this one. Now, this one, the Saints at the Patriots, another bit of a dilemma here. Bill Belichick loses two of his best defenders, Judon and the rookie Christian Gonzalez. They trade for J.C. Jackson, but they're coming off Bill's worst loss in his coaching career. The Saints have underperformed, but they're still a good defense. The tendency would be to go with the Saints here, and I think I was leaning on Saints, but Matt talked me out of it. He said, no, let's go Patriots. They're going to find a way to keep this close, low scoring, and interesting, and the Patriots pull it out. We don't feel real strongly about this one. A lot of games this week could really go either way, and this is one of them, but we're rolling with the Saints. Ravens at the Steelers, a really critical divisional game. It's hard to bet against Mike Tomlin in a situation like this at home where his team desperately needs a win. And another game, we'd love to roll with the underdog, leaning that way at first, but no, we can't. We can't bet against the Ravens and Lamar Jackson the way they're playing. So we'll go with the Ravens. We went with the Ravens in this one. Now, the Bengals at the Cardinals, interestingly, I was all over the Cardinals in this one. I just think they're playing really good football. And the Bengals, kind of really sad performance last week. And even against the Rams, Rams should have won that game. So, who do you pick in this one? You go with the Cardinals, right? Well, Matt talked me out of it. He said, no, Joe Burrow, this contract and the way this team has played so far, he's going to step up, and he thinks the Bengals win big. They need the win so badly. Now, the pushback on that is, why didn't they think that way last week? I don't understand why these players have to be pushed into a corner like that before they prove their worth. But that said, I'm going to go with Matt's discretion here. Bengals over the Cardinals. The Jets at the Broncos, and this is kind of a funny game. You got that side story with Nathaniel Hackett and Sean Payton, and Hackett must want this game really bad, and his players probably want it really badly for him. Zach Wilson maybe starting to figure it out a little bit, getting that NFL clock in his head instead of that college 4 or 5 second clock. And I just really feel bad for the Jets fan base. That is a really good fan base, and they have, it's been pretty miserable for them. Matt and I were talking about the ongoing skits they had on Curb Your Enthusiasm, if you're a fan of that show, and the misery the Jets have brought to some of the characters there. Pretty good stuff. One of the best shows on television. But that said, I'm going to pick the Broncos, rooting for the Jets, picking the Broncos. And, another part of that is I have a lot of respect for Sean Payton. I think he's a great coach. But there's a lot he gives us plenty of cause to dislike him and to root against him. I'll leave it at that. What do we got next? We have the Chiefs at the Vikings, and this is another game where you want to just go, Chiefs, obviously, right? Well, not so fast. The Vikings are a pretty good football team. They're at home. They're going to make a game of this. This is going to be a really fun game. And, Matt and I have decided that the Vikings are the Chargers of the NFC. Strange things happen in their games. It's always interesting. Last season, my gosh, the Vikings pulled out 6 or 7 wins, it seemed like, in the last seconds. This year, not really going their way, but they're going to, they got some players. They're going to put some points on the board again on this Chiefs defense, and it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be close in the fourth quarter, I think. Vikings could very well pull it out, but I don't have enough data or not enough gumption to pick the Vikings in the upset. So, yeah, we'll roll with the Chiefs, but keep your eye on that game. Cowboys at the 49ers. Now, 49ers, obviously the best team in the league right now, but let's pump the brakes on how great they are. They could be, Super Bowl champions this year. Obviously, they got a great shot at it. But what have they done so far this year? They beat the Cardinals, a Cardinals team that played them tough into the third quarter. They beat the Rams. The Rams played them tough deep into the third quarter. And then they smacked the Steelers and the Giants, two teams who we have since learned are not very good football teams. You could even call them bad football teams. So this will be a good test for the 49ers, a measuring stick for them, and for us to see really how good they are going up against a defense that can really get to the quarterback, even though they're missing their best cornerback. Cowboys are going to come after Brock Purdy. I still think the 49ers come away with a win. I still think the Cowboys are limited at quarterback. I think I'm probably repeating myself. Dak Prescott is the epitome of the quarterback that's too good to move on from, but not good enough to get you to that ultimate prize. And that's the Cowboys are kind of stuck. They're kind of stuck there with Dak Prescott. Cowboys have some revenge in mind. 49ers have had their number recently. Going to be a fun game, going to be a close game. Look for turnovers, sacks, interceptions, lots of crazy stuff going on. I think the 49ers pull it out, though. And then we have the Packers and the Raiders. Yet another game where flip a coin. Who you picking in this one? And the way Matt and our angle on this one is we just can't pick the Raiders. Sorry, just cannot do it. I almost wish Aidan O'Connell was playing rather than Jimmy G. Nothing against Jimmy G. He's a very efficient quarterback. You sliced and diced the Rams enough times. But if I'm a Raider fan, I want to see more Aidan O'Connell. But maybe Raider fans still think they're going to the Super Bowl, so they want Jimmy G back there. But whatever. I think they're in for a reality check here pretty soon. And the Packers, Jordan Love has looked fairly good. I'll take the Packers. And, the one thing about Jordan Love, he's played pretty well. And you know what? He hasn't had that stud receiver that these other Packer quarterbacks have had. No Davante Adams for Jordan Love. It'd be interesting. I wish we could have seen that one season of Jordan Love and Davante Adams together. They'll be playing against each other, well, not directly, but they'll both be in Las Vegas this weekend playing for opposing teams. And what do we got here? Our last game, the Eagles at the Rams. And as Matt pointed out, the Rams, they're getting the Eagles in a good spot. This is a game that the matchups really favor the Rams in a lot of ways. Not to take anything away from the Eagles. They got a great offensive line, great defensive line. But the Rams with Cooper Kupp coming back, Puka Nacua, really can move the ball through the air very well. And that's where the Eagles have struggled. They've given up 9 passing TDs already. How do they prepare for this Rams passing attack? The one thing they're going to try to do is to move the ball on the ground, which they probably will. It's just a matter of how much and how well they do that. And can the Rams keep them force field goals in the red zone? That's what it's going to come down to. But this could be Cowboys Niners, obviously the game of the week. Eagles Rams could end up, when all said and done, we'll look back and think maybe this was the game everybody should have been watching. I think that's the case. We both picked the Rams. I picked the Rams 34-33 in my Eagle Ram preview, doing the same here, and Matt's on board with that. And as I said on the pod, yeah, I know I'm a homer. How much weight should you put on me picking the Rams in any game? But I'm telling you, this is one game where I think it's, the spread's a little high. I think it's a pick 'em, maybe Eagles by 1.5. Going to be a chance for the Rams to really establish themselves as a playoff contender even if they lose, they're going to be right there. But man, what a big deal it would be if the Rams could get a win here. And the Eagles 4-0, they have not played quite to the level they did last year. And maybe there's no sense of urgency in this game, a long road trip. They're 4-0, they're playing a 2-2 team, and maybe the Rams steal a win, and that's what we're predicting. So that's what we have for this week. I encourage you to check out the podcast. We had some good stuff this week. We had Ian Martinez and Paul Walia on to basically have a roundtable, our Rams roundtable, assessing the state of the Rams. We had Tom Courts on with a Eagles podcaster from Eagles Today, doing a little crossover segment talking Eagles Rams. And then on the pod, also Matt and I discussing this same topic, a little bit more detail on all of these picks. Encourage you to check that out. We'll be back with our Rams recap late Sunday, early Monday morning. And hey, thanks for joining us, and go Rams.